All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel, man. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Really appreciate all the likes, shares, and subscribes. Keep that up. Really appreciate it. We're gonna keep cranking down these videos. As you guys know, in the last one, I did tell you this Evo is about to get ripped apart. That's why it's got the different valve cover on there right now. I'm gonna be going over a full video of how to remove the transmission, taking the engine out. We're getting that thing fully built and sleeved to match up the fully built head. And before I actually do that, I'm gonna go over a full review front to back of this car, talking about the entire engine, the turbo setup, all the suspension setup, interior setup, all the way through and through, just to update you guys with where we're at currently and where we will be going. So that video is coming out very soon. But today we are working on the K-Swap MR2. As you guys know, not too long ago we dropped in with our Hux Racing motor mounts, our K24 engine into here. We're just piecing things together. Transmission is in. Today I'm gonna show you guys how to hook up that driveline. I'm gonna show you what axles you need, what half shaft, what bolts, torque specs, and everything. And we'll also jump in and show you how the shift box and shift cables connect to the transmission all the way through and through. Things have gotten so much easier as time has gone on to get these things fully set up, and I'm gonna show you how to get that done. So let's get it. All right. So as you guys can see, the seat is out right now. The whole center console, the carpet on the back wall, and everything is out because I'm messing with the wiring. This is the Hux Racing wiring change up. I'm not gonna go into any of the wiring today, guys, because I want to completely separate everything. This is what the new box looks like though. This is my new fuse box. Now again, I had the body harness of this car, the engine harness of the Honda, and those are integrated together by Hux Racing, and this is your new box. You don't have a fuse box in the engine bay area. Instead it's this. I'll be mounting this wall right here. I've already mounted it up here with the carpet on there. Then I take the carpet down because I actually want to make it a little easier for myself and so on. And then I realized there's dyno mat all over this car, which is an absolute nightmare to take off. I'm taking this off, guys. It does weigh a little bit when you take this down eventually. I'll also be taking that carpet, which as you guys can see, if you can't see, it is super thick, man. That's actually really heavy carpet, and we've already stripped out as much as possible. The dash behind here, everything, the AC condenser, all this stuff has been completely stripped. This is an empty dash under here. We're making this thing as light as possible, and this thing will be fully roll cage. So currently, stripping this thing down, absolute nightmare getting off this tar stuff, but it will all be done, all cleaned up eventually. By the time you most likely see the wiring harness video, that will be that, okay? I do want to make separate videos because, again, I want to make the body harness, engine harness, the Haltech hookup, and the IC7 screen that will be going on here, all one smooth video so you guys know exactly top to bottom how to do all of your wiring. But without further ado, this is what we're going to be dealing with today. All right, so before getting into the axles, we are gonna do the full shift box stuff because the shift box is already installed and everything. So just to explain to you guys, when I first got this shift box, I got the hybrid racing shift box for the RSX. Okay, this picture right here, as you can see, it came with like in a cage. I'm on our previous videos, which you'll see above me right now if you wanna see. I ended up getting the Hux Racing brand new introduced flat shift box. It takes it down about 2 inches. And as you guys know, any of the K-Series MR2s, they have a shift, their shift assembly sits super high, so I wanted to get it as low as possible. I actually did a little more modification I'll get into in a second, and now mine is almost the stock regular height, and with the center console on, it just looks normal. So it's pretty gangster. I'm really excited about that. But regardless, if you guys need to watch that video, I moved over with the Hux Racing flat shift box and the hybrid racing one. I integrated those together, and that's what we're looking at right here. All right, guys, so if you didn't see the previous video, this is the Hux Racing flat shift box with the hybrid racing top here for the actual shifter assembly. That shifting assembly, again, is off of an RSX from Hybrid Racing. You can take the little 4 bolts out if you didn't see the previous video and bolt it right to Hux Racing flat shift box. It goes in the stock holes. Hardware is provided and everything. Nice and simple. Now, if you have RSX cables, which you'll be using RSX Type S cables, you might be able to do this a little easier because it'll have more flex in it, but I upgraded to the Hybrid Racing cables that have stainless steel lines inside of it, billet and fittings and the whole deal. Now, as you can see, it just pops right out that backside, which I'll show you in the engine bay in a second. So it goes nice and simple down here. The problem is because this thing's sitting so flat, either you gotta put washers under this little section to raise this actual box up, which I did not wanna do, and or you can kind of modify. As you can see, this used to be flat, and I actually ended up denting in this all the way through so my cables have nice clearance all the way. If you do not do that, it will be sitting like this. Look at this picture right here. That's what it looked like when I first did it, is because his cables would not flex as much as a stock cable would, on top of the fact that you're sitting way lower. It just didn't work because these come down at an angle and go up like that. But that's it, guys. All you have to do is end up just getting it some way. Obviously, it's not the cleanest right now, but I'm denting this thing in just enough on both of those sides so the cables can run nice and smooth all the way through the back, and we'll get into the engine bay and show you that right now. All right, guys, before I jump into the engine bay, I did just want to include really quick, because I got a couple private messages about this, how I got this thing threaded down, okay? So as you know, this is a Hux Racing flat shift box that brings it down a couple inches, but also the Hybrid Racing shift assembly. This is for an RSX, so usually you have that little boomstick that goes out and goes all the way up for an RSX, which sit typically lower. Any K-Series MR2, they always sit super high, and that's why we want to get this thing down like this. So what I'm doing was taking off the little boomstick and threading the smooth side that was here before down so I can put a shift knob. Now it is very, very thick and the material is extraordinarily hard to get through, but we did get it done. I had to order a custom shift knob for this, and the size is an M14 1.5. You'll be doing an M14 1.5, threading that down, and that way you can get that on. That is the largest, smallest size that will fit on there. If you get anything smaller, I don't know how you guys did, you'd have to really grind that thing down to fit a smaller size, like the M10 1.25, I think, which is like the stock regulars on a lot of different cars. That is not the case. M14 1.5 is what you need to thread that down. That's how you get it done. Let's jump in the engine bay. All right, and to the engine bay, guys, it's the top of the transmission. As you can see, I'm not even sure if I need to show this because it's pretty self-explanatory. We need to go to hook it up, but just to follow through in the video, as you guys can see, it does snake out that exact hole you guys saw in the inside, and then your lines is going to be, remember, these are the Hybrid Racing, so it's stainless steel lines inside, so you're going to have to give a little bit of a bending to them to get them to go, but that's no problem. Stock ones might flex a little bit easier, but it comes out that hole, curves around here, and goes to this. Your small side on the top one, your bottom one is going to get the big old end there. You're going to put your pin through both sides, your little clamps there, and that is it for the transmission and how your cables get all hooked up. All right, guys, as you can see, one of the axles is in there already. I want to make sure this is a seamless video, so I wanted to install one of the sides, and I'll show you the half shaft and another axle on the other side, just plug and play the exact same thing on this side. So you're definitely going to jack your car up just as I do and put on some jack stands and take off both your wheels because you'll be doing it all the way across the way over here. So there is a couple different options of axles and half shafts that you can use for this vehicle, okay? So if you have an NA model, meaning the NA hubs in the back over here, the non-turbo ones, a lot of people you'll hear say you can use the Integra axles. I was going to get Integra axles, but I've actually been pushed away from those because I've heard they're a little notorious for popping out, meaning that they don't sit in deep enough into the threads, which would be problematic in the future, with, especially when you start putting power down, you're not getting a solid even connection. I would imagine you're snapping axles way easier and breaking all types of stuff. That's just not a good idea. And despite Integra axles fit, RSX base model ones fit better. You have to do two small modifications, which I'm going over today, to fit them, but RSX base models. And as you can see, this is it, man. This is the RSX base model regular axle over here. I have the same ones on both sides. They're like the Duralast gold ones. I got these from AutoZone. Guys, a little trick of the trade here. After we modify this, like I said, to actually fit it in here, these are lifetime warranty, and I confirmed with the guy. Lifetime warranty, meaning that if I snap these axles, which is definitely going to happen over time, bringing this car to the track, they said 100% bring in the broken pieces and we will replace these for life for free. The axle is like $70 and is super, super dirt cheap, which brings me to the other alternative. I bought $70 for that one, for those two axles, so 140 bucks deep for lifetime warranty ones. Now, these will not hold the power, some other ones will, but there's another company right here, I think it's Insane Shafts, or Insane Drive Shaft? I don't know what it's called, but regardless, I'll show it above. I'll put a link in the bottom, guys. They make two different versions. They make a 500 horsepower axle and a 900 horsepower axle. Problem is those 500 horsepower axles, freaking $800 or $900, man. Again, I'll put the link in there so you guys can see it, but that is crazy price, in my opinion, for 500 horsepower axles. For 500 horsepower, which is, it is a lot of power, but not necessarily crazy. I'll take my risk and just snap these axles over and over until we have to finally get 900 horsepower axles. I mean, I'm sure these things will last decent. RSX base model axles, super cheap. That's what I'm doing, lifetime warranty. Now, when it comes to the half shaft, this is what I decided on. I did go with the Insane Shafts 500 horsepower capable half shaft here, okay? So I decided to get this one because when you start looking them up online, really quick, you got, this is an RSX Type S half shaft, okay? So this is gonna go up to that K-Series motor, bolt up to these axles, plug and play, no problem. And I decided to get the 500 horsepower brand new one, which has a brand new bearing and everything, because the used ones online, you'll notice, they're like 50 bucks less. Like, that's not, in my opinion, anywhere near close to get a used one with a used bearing and everything. These are 500 horsepower capable ones and all that good stuff. These are the actual bolts. I went to Honda. This is another tip I'm gonna give you guys. So I went to Honda and got brand new axles. I actually went to Acura. As you can see, I got Acura manual transmission fluid, which they've been telling me is the exact same thing as the Honda one. You know, sure enough, right? But these are the bolts that I decided to go with. These are about 10 bucks a piece, but if you buy these 3 shaft bolts off of, let's say, eBay, they sell them for 30 to 40 bucks. I spent like $28 on all 3 brand new from Honda or Acura, whatever. Awesome, awesome, man. So you're gonna need 2 that have this little raised spot right here, like this, and then you're gonna have 1 like that, okay? So the raised one, that's the actual part number if you guys want to write that down. If you want to go to your local dealer here and get 2 of those just like that, you're going to need 2 of these bad boys, and then you'll need this one right here. You need 1 of those. Those are the 3 bolts. Again, I suggest buying brand new. I also suggest buying brand new because a $50 difference. And if you want, again, you can go with those crazy 500 horsepower, $900 axles, or their 800 or 900 horsepower cable ones, which actually replace the entire hub and everything, or you can get lifetime warranty ones for like 60, 70 bucks. So that's the way we do it. Let's get under the car. As I said, you do have to modify this actual one to get it in there, but I'm gonna show you right now how to plug and play this piece. So let's go ahead and get under the car. All right, so now under the car, guys, I hope we have a good vision on this. This is gonna be your axle on the driver's side right over here. This is your subframe, and this is where your half shaft is gonna go right here, okay? So you're gonna take your half shaft and you're going to take the longer part, and the longer part's gonna go into the transmission, and then your 3 bolts will bolt down right down here. I hope you guys, again, have a good vision on it. So you can just kind of line this up like normal, just putting it against the block, just slide it in, eventually maybe do a little shimmy shank over here to get it actually in its groove, and when you actually hit a certain point, bam, slide it in just like that. As you can see, it goes in flush here, it seals the edge there, and now you have your 3 bolts. Of course, you know me, man, I'm all crazy about torque specs, so I don't want to over tighten anything because I'm known to just break things off, and that's why I'm so crazy about torque specs at this point, okay? But you're gonna have 1 bolt up here and 2 on the bottom. Again, you're gonna have the 2 that have the little uprooted part. These 2 that go like this are gonna go on the bottom, and then you're gonna have the one that's nice and smooth and does not have the ridge that bulges out, and that's gonna go onto the top one. All of these bolts get 29 foot-pounds of torque. 29 foot-pounds, that's what you're gonna put them at. Go ahead and screw those in nice and soft all the way around first, and then go back and we'll torque them up. Whoa, getting crazy, guys. Just to re-explain that, I said that wrong. Your 2 that have the bulging part on them are gonna go here, and then the one right under that. The one that does not have that is gonna be that one right there. So the smooth one is right there. The 2 that have the uplifted part are gonna go right here. Matter of fact, this one won't even fit in that, and that's how I figured it out at first. So those 2 there, the bulge, the other one over there, nice and easy. That is it. Torque those things down to 29 foot-pounds of torque, and you are good to go. Let's go ahead and crank out the axle. All right, man, and now we are down to the fun part of the axles where we actually have to take apart the suspension over there. Half shaft is in, and this is it, man. So this modification is going to be done to both sides of the RSX axle. So there's going to be something on the axle and then one part on the actual car. To start with this little ABS ring that runs around here, we need off of here for fitment. It will not fit without that. It will not slide all the way in, and you will instantly have a problem. This is pretty simple to take off. I'm sure there's methods that you can pry it off or whatever. I have a little Dremel wheel just like this. I'm going to be making a little cut in it just like that. And then I'll be taking a flathead, giving a couple hammers on there and splitting it the rest of the way so I'm not damaging the actual axle. And I'll be able to slide this part right off, just like this. Boom, and just like that, man, I made a little break. Again, you might be able to jam something in there and slide it off, but I find it easiest just to make a little cut there, pop it through, and slides right off. All right, guys, so now over to the assembly over here. We got to get this apart so we can get a piece of this back taken out. So again, the axle will slide in nice and simple. So I'll just be removing my 2 bolts really quick in fast motion, and then most likely taking off this one right here so I can actually just pull this thing all the way down. I'll modify the back, and then we'll slide our axle right in. So suspension 2 pieces taken out right here. As you can see, I just slid it off. Most likely saw that on camera. And now we can see the back of the hub over here. So this is the second modification you need to do, and then these axles will slide right in. You took off your little ABS ring, and now you're gonna have this little ring coupler right here. As you can see, there's this little metal ring right here. You're gonna have to get a flathead behind this thing and start prying it out all the way around, and eventually it will pop out, and this is how you do it. Oh my God. All right, and there she goes, man. As you saw, I just put a screwdriver there, popped that thing off. It came off even easier than I thought. So after you take off your ABS ring off the actual axle. Off the hub, you take this little metal frame. Now at first on the other side, this is why I did the other side first, just to make sure our video is seamless here. I kept this ring on here on accident, okay? And when you finally tighten it down, put your axle bolt down there, the axle won't spin because it's being jammed against this. So make sure you take off this ring off the hub, the other ring off the actual axle. Everything will slide in together. So let's go ahead and get to the next part. All right, all ready to go. As you guys can see, this is the end of the half shaft right here. Now we have our new axle. Just go ahead and slide that in. We'll work that part over first and then work the shaft into the actual hub right here. Alright, perfect. Way more fun than I thought. I ended up taking off this arm here, this is one right here, and I'm taking off the caliper to drop this unit all the way down to actually be able to get the axle in successfully without bending it up too much. After this though, as you can see, it's just hanging here. I'll be able to dip this down and line it up, get it through it, kind of wiggle this around like the back and forth just like this to be able to get it in its grooves, and then I can go ahead and strap this part back up. I'll add my connections over here in this, and then we'll put our axle bolt on the outside and be done with this project. And bam, bro, magic, all back together. That was an absolute nightmare getting back together, but every single component is back in, brake caliper back on. We are good to go. You see the axle nut is on here right now. What I'll be doing in a second is popping off my center caps, putting the wheel back on, lowering the car, and then I'll be taking my 32mm axle nut tool here, and I'll actually be torquing this thing down to around 159 foot-pounds of torque. And then you can pop your center cap back on and you are good to go. Axles from front to back. You have your half shafts, the whole deal. So let's do a little walkover review and that'll be it for us. All right, guys, there is the passenger side axle, your half shaft right there. As you can see on the other side of the transmission, that's the one you didn't see me connect with, the same deal that it slides right into the transmission, right into the back side of this hub after you take off your little ring and of course your little ABS ring just like normal. And again, there's the axle bolt on this side, which will be tightening down to 159 foot-pounds. After we pop off that center cap, put this wheel back down, lower the car, and that will be that. But that will be that, man. I'll do that in 1 second, guys. But thank you all so much for tuning into this video. I hope this was informative to you about getting the actual shifter cables in there. If you're using that the Hux Racing flat shift box, that's how you get it done. That's how the cables connect. That's how you get your axles in. Save some money, spend extra money, whatever you want to do. All options I'll put in the bottom down there, guys. Some options for the AutoZone might change, but either way, AutoZone, regular RSX axles, that's how you get it done. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video.